Well, welcome everybody. Tonight you're in for a great treat. This is Ray Gimantaro, America's Accountability Coach, here with a very special guest, Mr. T. Harv Eker, who is the author of Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. It's a #1 best-selling book in New York Times, Wall Street Journal, USA Today, a bestseller in the first week it came out. Outstanding. He is president and CEO of Peak Potentials Training, the world's largest success training company that has positively affected the lives of nearly 1 million people, including myself, across 101 countries. Harv is known for having street smarts with heart, and his motto is talk is cheap. He is one of the planet's most electrifying and charismatic speakers, and I've had the pleasure of working with him on and off the stage over several years. So with that, please help me to welcome Mr. T. Harv Eker. Harv, thanks for joining us tonight.
Totally my pleasure. I appreciate it.
So if you don't mind, we'll get right into the questions because we had a lot of them come in knowing that you were coming on the call. But for those of our listeners that aren't extremely familiar with you, would you mind giving us a little bit of a history of your journey?
Sure. At least in this context, well, I was born. I remember that. No, actually, my parents actually came over from Europe, and they came with the usual nothing. I think half a loaf of bread that was hidden in their sleeve because they, hadn't eaten for weeks before that. Literally, any really decent food. So when I was young, I grew up knowing that money meant survival. My parents taught me that money meant survival. And, other people, their parents teach them different things. Money means joy, or money means security. Or my parents said, if you don't have a lot of money, you die. So basically, because that was the way it was for them. So I grew up thinking that, my intention was to be a millionaire, and that was the end of that. My friends wanted to be astronauts and baseball players and football players and doctors. I just wanted to be a millionaire. I didn't even know what it was. So meanwhile, I left college at the end of first year because it wasn't fast enough to my holy grail. And then for the next 12 years, I proceeded to, instead of become a success, became a struggler, is I guess the best way I could put it. I struggled financially. I was never bankrupt. I was never homeless. But for many years, I had lots of choices between 50 cents in my pocket that I could get some gas with to try and do something the next day or eat dinner. And it was ridiculous. I mean, I came from a middle-class family. I was voted one of the top in school, to succeed. I was pretty popular in school. I'm not a terrible-looking guy. I'm not a bad guy. I mean, I thought I'd be the obvious one to make it. Over a decade later, it wasn't happening, and I didn't know what it was. Finally, I learned some principles, business principles, and I put them to the test, and then starting with a $2,000 credit card loan, I ended up a millionaire in only 2.5 years. And that was fantastic. I was in the fitness business, retail, opened one of the first retail fitness stores in the world, and then opened 10 stores in 2.5 years, and then it sold out to the H.J. Heinz Corporation. Now, the interesting thing about all this is that, again, I was in the fitness business, and then about a year and a half, 2 years after that, so I sold my business for $1.5 million. And then about a year and a half after that, I'm looking at my bank account, and I notice that I'm struggling again and going, where did all this money go? And sure enough, I was right back down to where in my bank book, we had bank books in those days, right back down to where I'd always been for the last 14 years. And anytime I made any money, I kept going back to the same spot. Now, this is where I believe that serendipity comes in, or you want to call it universal intelligence, or you want to call it, convenience, or coincidence, or whatever you want to call it, whereby I noticed this in my bank book, and I kept looking back at my bank book, and I kept on noticing, I kept on going back to the same place over and over again, and something just hit me, and I said, wow, look at this. In the same way that you have a set point when it comes to your weight, a metabolic set point, you have a set point when it comes to your money, and this is mine. And again, serendipitously, I had been talking about this thing called a set point for your weight, metabolically wise, to people for years. And as I did that, 10 times a day, I said, you can't lose weight unless you change your metabolic rate, the rate that your body burns off calories at rest. You do that by exercising, getting up, the habitual used to it.
Right.
And so I noticed this thing, and I all of a sudden I noticed why this kept happening to me. And so I happened to be doing some very, 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 very profound personal development work at the time, not to be richer, but to be a better father for my son, my newborn son, who is now about 6 months old. And I didn't feel, Ray, that I was. Let me put it this way: I wasn't happy about how I was treating him in respect to. I always wanted to be the best dad in the world, and to my daughter, my 18-month-old daughter, I was just the absolute best dad you could. I was just like in love with her, and she couldn't do anything wrong in my eyes. And him, he would whimper, and I would like go, "What are you crying for? Be a man, right?" You know what I'm saying? But so I noticed it was my dad. My dad's voice was coming through me, and I just said, "No, I don't want that," and I couldn't help it. So I started doing very heavy work on myself, and with some of the most masters on this planet, anyways. And I'm very fortunate to find them. And sure enough, that was working really well. So I started taking some of these methodologies and using them on my what I had now called my set point, or my money blueprint, my pre-programmed blueprint, inner money thermostat, as we call it, around money. And sure enough, literally a few months later, things started to change for me again, started to escalate financially, and all I can tell you, it's never stopped in the last, over 23 years. So I started teaching other people how to change that money set point, that money blueprint, and who were doing decently but not great, or their friend would do well in the classes that I'd be teaching on business, but next they wouldn't, and so all of a sudden when I started teaching them and actually doing the processes with them, right on the spot, everything started changing for people. And reality, this is the root cause of financial success, mediocrity, or failure. Everything else is peripheral to it, because literally, if you don't handle the roots, the fruits are just going to be an automatic reaction response to those roots. So what happens, Ray, is that people don't realize it, but they say, well, come on, all this inner world stuff, it's all a bunch of hokey stuff. Come on, teach me real estate, teach me stocks, teach me business. Yeah, well, guess what? As you know, we teach a lot of that stuff, but nobody does that with us until we get them to do our Millionaire Mind Intensive, which is where we actually change people's pre-programmed financial thermostat. And so, for me, that's been, no matter what I teach, and I've been teaching over 23 years now. I teach business, I teach finance, I teach personal development, I teach a lot of stuff. But to me, it all starts. If you don't get those roots handled, you're doomed. You're just totally doomed. Nothing will work for you for the rest of your life. It's like you have a pre-programmed setting, a thermostat, right? And the temperature outside could be 70 and let's say the thermostat is set for 72 degrees. If you open the windows and it's hot outside, the temperature could get to 80 in the room. But eventually, the thermostat will kick in, drop it back down to 72, because that's where it's set for. And it's the same thing where, if it gets cold. So it doesn't matter what else you learn. You can learn marketing, you learn business, you learn real estate, you learn the latest, no money down techniques. If that money thermostat is not preset for high, you're going down. It's not going to work. Or you'll sabotage yourself somehow, or your partner will leave you, or the market will crash on you, or blah, blah, blah. It all is a reflection of this inner money thermostat. And I know that, all I can tell you is that for my money, I've been to over 1 million people now in 104 different countries, and I see it again and again and again. This is the first answer for everybody.
That's truly amazing. And you mentioned the financial thermostat and a money blueprint. How do people know how high their financial thermostats are set?
How do they know how what?
How can they tell how high their financial thermostats are set?
Oh yeah, that's easy, because the outer world is strictly a reflection of the inner world. So that when you say how do you tell what the temperature in a room is set for? Well, if it's 70 degrees in the room, there's a good chance the thermostat is set for 70 degrees. So look at your results, look at your money, look at your net worth, look at your income, look at your patterns. You know, do you have a nice steady income? Or are you up and down like a yo-yo? Is, big chunks and then hardly anything? Are you a spender? Are you a saver? Are you a good money manager? A poor one? Do you worry about money a lot? Do you trust people around money a lot? Do you have good relationships around money or not? Every single one of these is a result of that blueprint. So just take a look at your life right now around money in every way, shape, or form, and that is the mirror staring back at you, and that is your blueprint right there. And the cool thing, as you know, Ray, is that thank God, thank goodness, we can change the blueprint. We can change it in 3 days, and we can change it permanently.
Absolutely. So how can they change that thermostat? You mentioned in 3 days.
Yeah, as you know, because you've been with us for quite a while, we have a world-famous course called the Millionaire Mind Intensive. It is a 3-day phenomenal program where we actually change people's money blueprints, that thermostat, right there on the spot, right there on the premises. We don't send you home. We don't teach you how to change it and send you home to change it. Why? Because we know you won't. Why? Because we're creatures of habit, right? But there's two kinds of habits. There's doing habits, and just as importantly, there's not doing habits. And that means everything we're not doing right now, we're habitually not going to do it. So why send you home with anything? You're not going to do it. You already know that. So we take the 3 days right there. We actually change that money blueprint using some very, very powerful and fun processes that work on the, I'm not going to get too heavy, work on the neurological pathways, otherwise known as dendrites, in your mind, and actually change and de-link things and unscrew things and then reblend things based on what you want today and who you are today versus who you were when you were growing up.
That's great. Hey, Harv, your best-selling book is called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Can you share with us what your definition is of a millionaire mind?
Well, it's just a person who's obviously thinks the way millionaires think, and therefore the result is the wealth that millionaires have. And as you know today, $1 million is not a heck of a lot of money, although maybe it is today, Today is a little different than it was 3 or 4 years ago, but it's still millionaires, rich people, let's put it this way, rich people think very differently than broke people and very differently than middle-class people. And the way you think is going to be the determinant factor of your life. So, anybody who's got a pen and paper now, it'd be really great if you wrote this down. But the obvious formula is your thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, and that all gives you your results. So thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, lead to results. So people always say, because people, if I go on radio and television, they say somebody's trying to let's say be harsh with me or, be antagonistic towards me, which a lot of them are, because that's what makes it entertaining for the viewers. I mean, Ray, it's hilarious. I go into a TV studio like a CNN, and the guy I'll sit down during the commercial break, and he'll say, okay, we'll be on in 30 seconds. I want to let you know that I read your book. I love it. I agree with everything. But, for the purposes of this interview, I'm going to come off as really like, what the hell is this junk? This is garbage. You don't need this stuff, so that you can come back, and we got to get some friction going here so we can get some ratings. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I go, yeah, well, I guess. Your business. I mean, but I'll say to them, they'll say, come on, it's all a bunch of hokey stuff. And I'll go, really? So let me ask you a question. You're looking for results, right? And they go, yeah, of course, you want results. I say, great. So what is it that creates your results? Is it fall out of the sky or what? And they go, no, you have to do something. Okay, fine, actions. Well, what creates your actions? Why would you determine to do something or not? Is it that just like automatically your arms and legs start doing things? They go, well, no, if you got to think about something, you think about doing it, then you do it. Okay, great. So it starts with your thoughts, right? So then they finally realize that the reality is that it all starts in your thoughts. But I have one more thing for everybody listening right now. So again, the beginning of everything is your thoughts, right? Wrong. It actually isn't your thoughts, because I have a question for you. What creates your thoughts? Why do you think the way you think, and the person next to you thinks differently? Especially, of course, if you're married to them, then they think radically different than you do, right? So why do you think different than everybody else? Why does everybody think different? Because there's one thing before thoughts, and that is your initial programming, your conditioning process. The subconscious conditioning process that you grew up with. You grew up as an empty container, and then all of a sudden this information gets installed and imprinted into you. And this information, as you know, Ray, comes from programming methods, verbal programming. What did you hear when you were young? Modeling. What did you see when you were young? and specific incidents? What did you experience around money, success, wealth, and rich people when you were young? All these things turn into a way of thinking. They all get turned into kind of neurological pathways in your mind, and they become the path of least resistance and the way for you to think. And so realistically, we are programmed to think in a certain way, and therefore we think that, and then we feel that, and then we act that way, and then we get the result. And we wonder why we're getting this result. And the obvious thing, because our eyes face outward, is that the result is out there. And therefore, the reason we've got this non-great result or whatever it is because of something out there. The market is good or the market is not good. This deal was good or the deal was not good. This town I'm in is good or it's not good. Well, I'll tell you right now, it's got nothing to do with anything outside of you. Nothing. People are going, okay, now I don't like, this guy, now he's hitting it because the economy is really making a big difference. Yes, it is. You know that. It is. But not to everybody. In fact, one man's garbage is another man's gold. On the other side of crisis is opportunity. So the people, and I'm going to say this, I hope it's okay to Ray to kind of tell it like I see it. Is that okay with your clients?
Oh, please do. That they want the truth.
Yeah, well, the truth that as I see, there's no such thing as the truth, but the truth as I see it is that the reality is that the real estate market sucks for people who aren't real experts. It sucks for people who are moderate at what they do. It sucks for people who aren't working as diligently and habitually as they need to and not doing the right things right now and not learning what they need to learn right now. It sucks for anybody mediocre. See, 4 years ago, you could fall off a log and make money at real estate, right? You just walked into any place, put down some type of technique or no money down or some money down or a lot of money down, didn't matter, but the thing was going up, okay? Well, so you could have been a dough brain and made money then. Today, that's just not the way it is. Today, it's a different market. You need to be a real expert at what you do now. You need to know what you're doing now, and you need to be good at it, and you need to take extensive action, and you need to have the mindset and that works with that, and a never give up attitude. And the people who are listen, we have a lot of people at our courses that teach real estate, and like yourself, and they're doing incredibly well. It is the greatest time ever. And they're going, well, how come my students aren't doing it? Well, I don't know, well, the reason is because they have these blockages in their mind, in their neurological pathways, this money blueprint that is not set for success and appeared to be set for success because the market was running like crazy. So, but now that the market isn't running like crazy, now you really get to see what your blueprint's really like, Now you get to see what your skills and expertise are really like. I'm in business. I'm a trainer, as you know, and a writer and an author, and of course I have my own business. I have one of the larger training companies in the world. So people go, well, you're not really in business. No, really? I used to have 240 employees, okay, with 40,000 square foot offices. So I've simplified that a little bit, but that's of my own choosing. But literally, yeah, I'm in business, a major business worldwide. And so, today it's more challenging to do well business-wise. At least that's my experience. But some people are doing really well, and some people are doing really, really badly who used to do well before. Because before, again, you could fall off a cliff. Everybody was spending money. But today, you've got to be great at whatever you do. So, how much are you studying what you're doing? How much are you working on yourself? Because, again, you are the root. I'll put it bluntly, Ray, people ask me all the time, hey, Harv, how do I be a success? How do I be a success? And the answer is simple. If you want to be a success, you have to be a success. You have to be the kind of person that is a successful person, and then anything and everything you touch turns successful. If you're a person that is not successful, then everything you touch becomes what? Not successful.
That's so true. I mean, I see it all the time when people think they need to get all their ducks in a row before they can actually take action and go full force into something. And by the time they're ready to go, the moment's passed.
Well, you know my feeling on that. One of the big things we teach in our courses, as you know, and even in my Millionaire Mind Intensive, is that one of the differences between rich and successful people and unsuccessful people is that rich and successful people are willing to act in spite of fear. Act in spite of fear. What do most everybody else do? They let fear stop them. So the reality is, everybody, that everybody has fear. I don't care who you are, who's your, you could be Tarzan. Everybody's got fear. And people go, well, I don't have any fear. Yeah, really? Give me 2 minutes and we'll find a fear. I guarantee you. I've got fear. Everybody. See, rich and successful people have fear. And they have worries, they have doubts, but they just don't let those feelings stop them. They recognize, they go, oh my God, I'm scared to death. But you keep going. You may not want to, in a real estate situation, you might look at a situation and go, well, geez, I'm not that comfortable with this. I've never done anything quite like this before. It's much bigger than I've ever done. I don't know if this is right for me. I'm not comfortable. Well, guess what? Comfort is not the path to wealth. Comfort is the path to being mediocre or broke. If you're comfortable with everything, I guarantee you ain't growing much. And so people are afraid that's the number one thing of everyone, the number one blockage for everyone, the number one thing that prevents everyone from anyone from rich and successful and happy is one thing, fear. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. The only question is, how do you handle fear? You must get good at handling it. If you can get good at handling fear, your life will change. And one of the key things I'd like to suggest to everybody along the lines that Ray is talking about here, which is a great point, Ray, that people wait until everything is ready and perfect and certain, and by then the opportunity's gone, of course. And that's they're just trying to take themselves out unconsciously. That's what I mean about a millionaire mind. They see something that feels good, smells good, and they go for it. And then they pull the trigger and they sign the dotted line and they take a shot at it, And not to say that you gamble, but you got to take a shot. Not everything, even you plan it till the cows come home, and it's still not going to work out necessarily just because you planned it like crazy, So what we say in our courses, as you know, Ray, is get in the game. If you have something right now, everyone listening right now, listen. How many of you listening right now have something in your life right now that you're thinking about, you're not sure about doing? Maybe there's a little bit of uncertainty. Let me say this. Everybody when I ask this in the seminars, everybody puts up their hand. Yeah, of course there's a little bit of uncertainty in certain things. I'm thinking about this, maybe. Should I do that? I'm not sure about this. Whether it's business, whether it's, should I get involved in this thing or a relationship? Whatever. Here's my thoughts. 2 words will change your life. Do it. Do it. Do it. Get in the game. Go for it. And here's the thing. Most people don't realize that where you learn is in the game, not before the game. You start before the game, you prepare as best you can, and then you pull the trigger. You get in the game. You suit up and you get on the field. Then, as the game is happening, your job is to make adjustments, get feedback quickly, and make quick adjustments as fast as you can, and continue making those adjustments until you know what the heck is going on. And, this. I'll give you a good example. We have a new special edition Millionaire Mind Intensive this season coming up. It's specific to this economy. Now, I've been doing this course for, about 15 years on the inner blueprint side of it and changing people's blueprints, which that part stayed the same. So now it's 2 seminars in one. It's the inner blueprint change, that money thermostat that we completely redo. But in addition to that, we now have added a financial freedom day, an intensive on that day. And this is a pretty new day. I mean, this day a lot of new data, new information, new methodologies, and so I taught it for the first time just a little bit ago. And trust me, I prepare heavily, okay? Because I have 5 other trainers, every word is written out, the whole thing is scripted, 2 minutes here, 90 seconds here. I mean, it is done. I'm as you know, I'm a fairly proficient program designer. And so, but I got in the game, and man, oh man, I was in heat for the entire 9 hours, man. I mean, it was like I was dripping wet because my timing was off, my this was off. The students thought it was amazing. I mean, I never got so many comments that this was the most amazing information. It's perfect for this time. They don't know what I was going through to make sure that the timing was right and that the break was right. I had to move a section from after lunch to before lunch because it was, I had a 40 minutes. I mean, all this, the whole thing was a timing issue. But the students had no clue, right? They just thought it was seamless. But for me, it was. So what does that show everybody? It shows you that I planned my ass off. And guess what? Once I got in the game, everything still changed, didn't it? And so in that game, every break, I was right behind the stage. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I was in the break. I was redoing the timing. I was taking pieces out. I was adding pieces from other places in. Things that worked better, things that seemed better, things that from the energy of the group, what they needed, add this back in, take this back out, and just adjusting it like crazy to a point where there were so many adjustments, I actually had to take this entire week so far to rewrite it again with the new adjustments. And the whole thing looks totally different. Even though it was a level 10 that last time, or 9.9, it still needed massive adjustments internally. So when you go out there and you're trying to do real estate and you're planning on everything, I got to learn everything perfectly. You learn as much as you can. You're in the right place to learn. And then you go out there and you give it a shot. You go for it and you put in offers and you get, while you're involved in deals, you learn about things. A lot of things don't come through. You find out why now. The more experience you have, the more you're going to know what to do in those situations. Am I right about that, Ray?
Oh, you're absolutely right. And I'll tell you, the Millionaire Mind Intensive, you really get to see yourself up close and personal, and gives you that ability to make those changes. It was really instrumental to me, and that was almost 10 years ago. And it's everything you've taught is still with me today. So now one of the things I wanted to ask you was, I get a lot of people saying to me, and you kind of touched upon it earlier, is great to have this Millionaire Mind, but how can I maintain it when everybody around me is so doom and gloom?
That is one of the harder, that's a really great question. It's one of the harder things we have to deal with. Listen, everybody, I'm praying for, first of all, for your life, that you don't even think about it, but you just register and come to the Millionaire Mind Intensive. It's available for you. You go to this Millionaire Mind Intensive. You need to do that because if you don't readjust those roots, your fruits will stay the same for the rest of your life. And you'll go, well, I'm doing okay, right. If you want okay, then just keep it going. But if you really want to create some serious success, serious wealth, and happiness, and have a much easier life financially and stop struggling, you need to be at this Millionaire Mind Intensive. And so, that part for us, getting you handled, changing your money blueprint, moving you along tremendously at a huge, fast rate yourself, that's easy for us. Again, what you're good at what you do, we're very, very good at what we do. Okay, we change people's lives every single weekend for the rest of their lives permanently. But what's hard for us is exactly what Ray was talking about. When you come out of that seminar, yes, we have some support systems, but you're around people who are not at the same level you are, especially now after the course, you're going to be at a completely different level than you were. You're going to look at your life differently. You're going to look at other people differently. You're going to look at success and opportunities differently, and mostly you're going to look at yourself differently. You're going to see a whole new life. It's like you went from dark glasses or something to bright yellow all of a sudden, rose color, whatever you want to call it, but not woo. I mean, you're going to see things differently, opportunity everywhere. And the biggest problem you're going to have is like, oh my God, what should I choose of all these amazing things out there? The biggest problem you have is these other people and doom and gloom. And so number one, turn off the news. Okay, if you want to get some news, just glance at the USA Today, the money section. That'll give you enough information. And you look at that, once a week or something, you'll know kind of what's going on. But don't read the garbage, the entertainment propaganda stuff. That just destroys your anything that even smells like it can work in a positive and light direction. As far as other people are concerned, we highly recommend that you bring spouses and even older kids to the Millionaire Mind Intensive with you. Why? Because there's a saying that says, if they ain't working with you, they're working against you. And it's just the way it is. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. It's just one of the two. It's a law of duality. So people have a tendency that they have to be right. Okay, that's one of the things we teach. You can be rich or you can be right, and people love to be right. And so what does right mean? Does it mean right answer? No, it means right means the way I do it, the way I live, my beliefs, my ways of thinking, what I think is right. Okay, that's what right means. And so you're going to go to, you go out there and you're trying to do your real estate or whatever you're doing specifically, and maybe it's not working as well as you like, and your friend comes up to you and goes, yeah, what are you wasting your time for? This isn't the market to do this in. You should be getting a job or something. Come on, or your wife or your husband, and so they're not intentionally trying to hurt you, but they can only come from their own perspective. They're wearing their own glasses, and yet if you hung with very successful, let's say, real estate investors, would they tell you, well, you know what, things aren't working right now, you should go get a job? They wouldn't tell you that. They come from a whole different world, right? They're going to say, it's amazing out there right now. You should get this technique and this methodology and go to this market and use this and get out there and do it, right? So who you hang out with makes a big difference in what you do. And what I say is, number one, just bring everyone you possibly can with you to the Millionaire Mind Intensive. They'll start to realize the dark clouds that they have been actually underneath and the dark glasses they've been wearing, and realize that I'm not talking Pollyanna here by any stretch, but realize that there's two ways to look at everything. There's a way that supports your success and a way that disempowers your success. This is not about positive thinking. This is about ways of viewing things that work and don't work.
That's great. You actually mentioned some things that I remember reading in your book that you called wealth files. Well, you mentioned about rich people actually admire other rich and successful people, while the rest of us often resent the rich. Why is this an obstacle to success, though?
Well, man, that you hit on a good one there, right? Because, yes, so many people don't even get me started on this. Oh, my gosh. So many people resent rich and successful people. How about so many? Do you know what? I'm going to say this. First of all, let me finish this part, and that is that, let me say this right now. If you think negatively or bad, rich people are bad in any way, shape, or form, and you want to be a good person, then how on earth could you possibly be rich? You're saying in unconsciously that if rich people are bad and you want to be a good person, then you can't be rich, right? How could you be anything that you think is bad? So you just killed your chances right there. That one dendrite, that one neurological pathway that says this minor little mini thing that kind of resents rich people or really rich people, that means you can never be that. Okay, never. One of the things that I learned in my Huna lessons, that comes from Hawaii, I think you know that, but it's that, and everybody should write this down. This is a big takeaway, okay? Bless that which you want. Bless that which you want. If you see a person that has a beautiful home, bless that home and bless that person. A beautiful car, the Maserati sitting right in front of the restaurant, instead of looking at it and going, oh, what a jerk, this guy. Bless that car and bless the owner of that car. If you see someone with a fantastic family, bless the family and bless everyone in the family. Bless that which you want. Because why? Because anything you negate, you can never have. Anything you negate, you can never have. So if you negate rich people, you can never be one of them. And now let me just get into this right now for a second, because now you hit my hot button. and it's because I've been called by the New York Times a financial evangelist. And I take that with a blessing, because someone's got to stick up for us rich people. And what I mean by that is that today's culture, between the economic crash and the bankers and the greed on Wall Street, the culture today it has become let's bash rich people. That it's not okay to be rich. It's not okay to be wealthy. You're a better person if you're a worker that is just barely making it, and the government can be helping you. And it appears that, and you know what, I'm going to say, I'm not a political guy, but you have a leader. We have a leader here who doesn't come from a wealth background and a business background and a financial background. He comes from a social working background. And you know what? Social work is very needed in this country. There's a lot of people who need it. But that does not mean that rich people are bad all of a sudden, that all rich people are bad. You take a look at the bankers, you can take those bankers that the 20 of them and the 30 or 50 CEOs on Wall Street or whatever that were jerks, whatever it is. What's the number? Can you name them? Can you list those people that were jerks around the whole thing, that really were overly greedy and killed the economy as part of it? Can you make a list? And the answer is yes, you can make a list. How many would be on that list actually? I don't know. Well, at the leader, at the heads of 20, 50, 100? Okay, you're going to say 100 rich people are quote-unquote bad people. Great. Is there only 100 rich people? Let me say this right now, Ray. There are millions of rich people all around the world. 99.999% of them are good, family-oriented, high-value, caring, wonderful people who work their arses off and worked hard and worked intelligently and did the best they could for their family and everyone else and helped people and provided solutions for people and got rich as a result of that. That's 99.9%, okay? So let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's not throw the idea of wealth and our dreams, and our American dream is going down the tubes right here. And that's inappropriate.
You're so right on the point there, because one of the things that I hear a lot, particularly when we start talking about wealth in today's economy, they say to me, well, you spend so much time focused on money. Doesn't it seem a bit superficial? Is
that's
money
a
really
great
that
thing.
important?
Here's the answer to that question, at least from my perspective. Again, don't believe a word I say. Just try it out in your own life. If it works for you, keep doing it. If it doesn't, throw it out, okay? But, money is a part of life. It is not life. And it is simply a convenient method of exchange, whereby I don't have to drag my cows around and trade you for your vegetables. And so it's a convenient method of exchange. Now, the reality is that people want to have a lot of it so they can get more goods and services and things like that, so they can, for many reasons. But the reality is that money isn't the only thing. Unless you don't have it, then it becomes the only thing, right? And people say, well, money's not all that important. And the reality is that anybody who says that, they don't have any money. And so, yes, most people know that T. Harv Eker, myself, is that I've been called, a cross between Donald Trump and the Buddha, because I'm a very, very, my whole shtick is street smarts with heart. And money with spirit and love. And so reality is that most people don't realize, and it's in my book, and one of the things we teach at the course is that it's both. Rich people, most people who are struggling are always thinking either or mentality. And that's a scarcity mentality. It comes from fear, either this or that. But the rich and successful people think both. Abundant people think both. You have both. So you have spirit. So the idea is to be kind, loving, balanced, peaceful, healthy, wonderful person, and be really, really rich. Why not have them all? They go beautifully together. And so, what's more important? People say, well, money's not as important as other things. Well, what's more important, your arm or your leg? You have them both. Well, the reality is that both are important in your area in which they work. You don't want to be writing with your feet, and you don't want to be walking with your hands, okay? So money does a specific function in our society. Is it more important or less important than anything else? No, it's not more important. Look, I'm looking at a lamp right now. Is money more important than the lamp? No. Because you know what? When I come into a dark room, I have no interest in the money. All I care about is opening that lamp right now. Now, money buys me a lamp. That's great. But money's not more important than a lamp, and it's not important than the daytimer thing that's in front of me here. It's not more important than anything. It's as important. And so it needs to function on its own and be important for what it is, And if you want to put some focus on your day timer, then you focus on that at that time. When I'm working every morning and the night before in my day timer to plan my day, I'm not thinking about money. I'm thinking about my day timer. I'm planning my day. When I'm thinking about earning money, and when I'm thinking about business, I'm thinking about business. Now let me say one thing by the way here. Everybody needs to write this down. This is a big takeaway. Money is a result. Money is a result. One of the best things I could teach people, I could teach you right now and help you with, if you want to take my help. Again, if I'm not assisting you, then I understand and I appreciate it. Maybe someone else, but is that money is a result, and really it's a result of what? And people ask, I'm going to give this to your people if that's okay, Ray. Is that all right? I'll give them a little extra here.
No, please do.
People ask you all the time, well, hey, Harp, how do I make more money? How do I make more money? And first of all, I say that is a terrible question, because the only people who make money work at the mint. The rest of us actually have to earn money. Okay, so better question. How do I earn more? How do I earn more money? Well, okay, let's take a look at it. It's a good question. How do I earn money? And the answer is this: the definition of an entrepreneur or a business person or even a person in a job is a person who solves problems for people at a profit or for pay. Again, solves problems for people at a profit or for pay. So what are you? You are a problem solver. So how do you get paid more? By solving what? More problems. So money is a result of helping people solve specific problems that they're willing to pay you to solve. Okay? And so the reality is that the more problems you solve for people, the more the result is that you get money. So if I run a seminar and there's 10 people in it, I get paid 10 times X. If there's 100 people, I get paid 100 times X. If there's 5,000, I get paid 5,000 times X. So if there's 5,000 people in the room, that means I'm helping 5,000 people. That means I'm solving a lot more problems. So why do I make so much more money? Because most people, because I do have 5,000 people in a room. I'm going to be leaving shortly, to Asia, and there's 5,000 people waiting for me in one room for 3 days. And so the reality, and by the way, we don't even advertise. It's all word of mouth when people do it. So the reality is that the more, if you're now in a position where you only help 2 people a day, you got to get in a position where you help 20 people a day. If you're in a real estate situation and you're buying you're getting to learn this, and you're buying a single home or a single door of some sort, that's fantastic. That's a great start. But you can't tell me you're going to be as rich as someone who owns 50 doors, or who owns a large 100-unit apartment building, or because you go, well, they have that because it's bigger. No, it's because there's more people that they're solving a problem for. They're solving their lodging and their accommodations problem for. So if you want to get rich, it's simple. It's a result of helping people and solving their problems. And so if you want to make money, do not put your attention on making money. That's the worst thing you could do. Well, I'm going to go out there and see if I can make some money. What are you going to do? Go to the mint? What are you going to do? What does that mean? I'm going to go out there and make some money. I'm going to go out there and earn some money. What are you going to do exactly? No. The attention is who can I help today? How many people can I help today? How can I increase the number of people that I'm helping? In my situation is I have a book, for example. I say, usually I sell, maybe 30 books a day in a bookstore. So I go, hey, how could I go from 30 books in a day to selling this week 100 books or 500 books in a day? Okay, to help more people. And so if I do that, all of a sudden I see that in my royalty paycheck. And the same with you, same with my every business, same with whatever you're doing. Don't put your attention on making more money. That's a result. Put your attention on solving problems for more people. That is something you can actually do.
That's great. That's awesome. And you actually touched upon another one of your wealth files, which is that, rich people focus on the opportunity where the rest of us might focus on the obstacles. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, it's perfect, especially in real estate, isn't it? Because the reality is that I don't think I need to tell you this. There's 50 dogs for every good situation, right? And what people do is they say, oh my God, look at this this didn't work out and that didn't work out and this guy's overpriced and this guy is too zealot on his terms and blah 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 blah. So you've got to look at a lot of different situations before you find the gold, right? That's just the way it is, and that's the difference between really successful people and people that we work with and people that we mold and unsuccessful people. Are you the kind of person that can go through 50 no's before you get your yes? Most people are not. Most people are not. They're in a way too much of a hurry. They give up way too quickly. And so when you look at the opportunities out there, they're again on the other side of every problem is an opportunity. This is again what I've been saying before. In one of our courses, one of our advanced courses called the Guerrilla Business School, we teach people how to find $1 million ideas every 60 seconds. And they go, what? That's impossible. Really? Okay. So what do? I'm going to give you a secret right now. So again, don't look for opportunities. You can't go, okay, that's an opportunity. No, it doesn't work like that. And what do you look for? I already told you earlier. You look for problems. On the other side of every problem is an opportunity. If you can solve a problem, the other side of that is an opportunity, you see. I'll give you an example. I'm looking at a whiteboard right now in my office, and it's got a lot of writing on it, and on the right-hand side there's a whole bunch of red kind of smeary stuff that I wasn't able to get off my whiteboard, so it kind of looks kind of ugly-ish a little bit, and I haven't, I'm admitting it, and I'm going, wow, I tried with that spray stuff, and I tried with the brush, and it doesn't work. The stuff doesn't come off. Well, that's a what? That's a problem. So what do I need? If someone could show me a spray or something, a solution that takes that stuff off, I would buy it in a heartbeat because I don't like the way my office looks with that thing on it when people come in. So I would buy that in a heartbeat. But do I know it? No. Has someone told me that it exists? No. Where would I find it? I don't know. So that's where marketing comes in. That's where letting people know how you can solve their problem comes in. So someone needs to be able to have this solution, and I'll buy that solution. And it's the same with you. So on the other side of it, so don't look for opportunities, look for problems. In real estate, Ray, what do you look for, opportunities or problems?
You look for the problem.
Yeah, and the bigger the problem, the more the opportunity, right?
Absolutely. Isn't that like a Chinese proverb?
Absolutely. On the other side, actually, the symbol for crisis and opportunity is the same symbol.
Oh.
So, guys, you want to make a lot of money? Go out there and find some problems. Just search for problems. And here's the cool thing. People say, well, the economy today. Are you kidding me? The economy today is full of what? Problems. It's beautiful. Anybody's got their eyes open is looking for problems, and they're all over the place. Even in myself, right now, even in the new Millionaire Mind Intensive, we have solutions to new problems. We have new courses that we've developed. Why? To solve today's problems, right? Not problems from 5 years ago. Today's problems. That's why we're doing well. We're always looking at today's problems and giving people information to solve them.
Speaking of that, Harv, I know you're running out of time here, so I want to just hit a couple more points before you go. The economy in the last year and a half has really taken a dive, and you hear it all the time from everybody. And I've heard you say that the next 2 years may well determine the rest of your financial life. What do you mean by that?
Well, when the economy turns, as everybody knows, it will one day, whether it's this year, next year, 2 years, 5 years, it will one day. The problem is that the usual people are always set up to buy when it's high, and they're not set up to buy when it's low. It's not going to get a heck of a lot more low than it is now. I don't think. I'm not an economist, but even if it does take another dip, it's still going to come back to where it is today, at least, in short order. And so, right now is the time to be buying. Right now is the time to be setting up for when that rebound happens. You can make a little killing or a big killing. You all heard the stories of the Rockefellers and the Carnegies and all that. They didn't buy when it was high. They bought when blood was running in the streets. And they didn't just get rich. They became some of the wealthiest people in the entire universe ever in history. And so why are people not setting themselves right now for the rebound to get rich? And the reason is simple, because everybody in this country is already programmed for immediate gratification. And in my book, in my seminars I teach, rich people think long-term and poor people think short-term. Think long-term, my friends. Well, I don't really have much money. Get a partner. Well, get some techniques. Well, no more wells. I don't care about the wells. One of the things we have is, you know, Ray, we have reasons or results coaching. And everybody's really good at the reason, but they're not so good at the result. I have no interest in your reason. Just give me the result. Get the job done. Buy some stuff now that you can flip or sell or do something with in 4 or 5 years, and you'll be a rich person, okay?
This is definitely the time to do it, and you see it everywhere. Just a quick example. I mean, I'm here in Boston, and they were just talking on the radio how the owner of the Boston Red Sox bought the Liverpool soccer team. And one of the premises was exactly that. They found a struggling business that they knew that they could turn around, so they bought low, and we'll watch what happens in the future.
Absolutely. That's the way to do it.
So it's not just real estate, it's everywhere. And as you said, that's where the problems are, and it's about making a solution for those problems where people are going to actually prosper.
Absolutely. It's out there. It's out there, guys. Why aren't you seeing it? And the reason you're not seeing it is because your money blueprint is set for low. How do you know what your money blueprint is set for low? Well, again, look at your income. Listen, if you are not rich right now, and I mean really rich, I mean right now, I would call rich. To me, the word rich means maybe over 10, probably 10 million or more net worth. I think you're well off if you probably have, 3 to 5 million. That's decent. We go for that for our students, at least minimum of $3 to $5 million intention for their net worth. And I don't think if you're a millionaire, you're rich anymore. In fact, if you have a $1 million house, you're paid off. You could be house broke too, So I'm just giving you my own standards, and that doesn't mean I'm not trying to come off as arrogant. I apologize if that appears that way. I'm just saying, get off your butt and go for some serious success, because one of the reasons to be successful isn't just for yourself and not just for your family, but the more you have, the more you can give. You can give to help others. And if you have the wherewithal to get rich, I believe it's your duty, it's your dharma, it's your mission to be rich, so you can help people who will never have that wherewithal. When I was just in Turks and Caicos, I have a house in the islands in the Caribbean there, and I was there about a little over a year ago. And actually, it was about a year ago. And during the Haiti earthquake, and Haiti is 96 miles from Turks and Caicos, and it was very interesting. I'm going to tell you a little story just because people always ask this question. They go, "Well, come on, is it just for yourself and all that?" But the reality is, with this earthquake, they had a fundraising situation the next day on Turks and Caicos, and we went to this party. There was a lot of big wigs, and there was a lot of all this stuff. We didn't know anything anywhere there, but you had to buy these tickets, and the tickets were $20 for a ticket, and they got you into a raffle to buy, some of these fantastic gifts that hotels and stuff were giving away in restaurants. And there must have been about 500 people at this thing, and people would buy 1 ticket or 2 tickets or 3 tickets. I saw one guy buy 3 tickets because you got a free drink with a ticket too. So great, fantastic. And I'm watching, myself and my partner Michelle were watching this whole thing going on. We're watching for about an hour. We didn't know anybody, so we kind of stood around that whole ticket area there. And they maybe they sold about 1,000 tickets probably, who knows. So near the end of the night, when I'm noticing, I'm going, look at this. It's like, this is supposed to be helping. These people look like they're more interested in getting drinks than they are in helping anybody who just gone through this earthquake. And it's all going to the Red Cross. I went up to her, and so Michelle and I walked up to the girl, and we said, we'll take the tickets. And she said, well, how many? I said, all of them. She says, well, sir, there's 2 rolls of tickets here. I said, here's my credit card. Take it. Just give me all the tickets. Wow. And she goes, what? And she was, and I didn't think twice about it. I said, whoa, it's just a shame that I was like the only one that was buying tickets, to help some people, and literally, the best part about it, we won all the prizes. But we gave the prizes away to other people. So, literally, it's not just about you. If you have funds, then it's more than welcome to share them. And here's what I find with my students is that with my clients, my students who come to the seminar, they're good people. And they want to get rich not just for themselves, but to help other people. And I find this, my friends, that whenever my students, as soon as they get to a level where they have plenty for themselves, they become very, very generous. And you'll become very, very generous to help other people. You're not going to become greedy and a bad person because you have more money. Money makes you more of what you already are. If you're a good person and a generous person and a kind person, you're going to get to help even more people. So part of why you get rich is for you, and part of why you get rich is for your family, and part of why you get rich is to be able to make a difference in other people's lives. When I see a homeless person and on the street, and if I'm going to give something, this is not about harm, okay? This is about someone who is able to affect other people because they have a little bit of funds, okay? And when I see a person and they have their little container out for their quarters or their nickels and stuff, I wait until the person is looking, okay, and then I drop $100 bill in the jar. I say, just make sure you take that out of there now. And they go, what? I say, just put that in your pocket now, so that nobody puts a dime in and takes it out. You know what people are like. And I don't like giving a quarter, and I don't like giving a buck. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to make a difference for somebody, all right? How about you? Wouldn't you like to be able to do that easily, where you don't think twice about $100 or $200 or $300 going out of your pocket to help some people that day? Wouldn't you love to be able to do that and feel good about it? Well, I like that. I think it's a nice thing, and I feel good about it. And I enjoy watching someone. I've had people in airports whereby, again, this is not about me. Take the harm out of it. One of the things I love doing is, the fast food places in airports, where you get your food in the little Chinese place or the pizza place, whatever, and you sit down, and there's always a cleaner. Mm-hmm. And they're always usually a person who doesn't look like they're doing all that well, and they're cleaning up the tables, and they're taking the trays, and, what do they make, $8 an hour, and they usually look like they have a family, and they, my God, I love leaving them a little tip. A little tip. Of course, it's not a little tip. I just love it. And I say, there's something under that tray for you. Make sure you put it in your pocket and enjoy your family tonight. Something special. And I'll walk away. And I never look back. I don't even think about that. But, you want to be able to serve people. You serve them to solve their problems. The result is money. Then when you have the money, you get to give to help other people even more.
Absolutely. I heard a long time ago that you can have anything in life you want if you help enough other people get what they want.